Welcome back to another episode of 604 Come Up. I'm your host, Jovan, and today I'm sitting alongside Trish Jewison, a helicopter traffic reporter in Vancouver, BC. She's been in the industry for just under 7 years now. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Made it here in this crazy weather. I actually just saw you on live TV, like I was telling you, maybe like 2 hours ago, hour and a half ago.
Yes.
So you literally just landed and came here.
Correct. Yes. Straight from the chopper.
Where do you guys land, in Vancouver or?
Nope. We fly out of Boundary Bay Airport.
Okay, Boundary Bay.
So basically my office is right beside an airplane hangar and I sit at my desk is probably 20 feet away from the helicopter.
Wow. So how does that work? Half your day you're in the office? Or?
That's right. Yeah. Half my day is spent in the office. I report on the ground for AM730 and CKNW. And mostly just like accidents and problems and road work and things like that are slowing you down today, in particular, all the flooded areas. So, and then at about 4:30, we head up for the afternoon rush and we stay up until just after 6:30.
Okay, that's what Global, right? Global BC?
But I also report on AM730 in the chopper too. So it's Global and AM730 at the same time.
Okay, so can you break this down for us? Like how it works? Are you contracted out or?
Kind of contracted out. I basically work for a company called Canadian Traffic Network and we supply reporters for pretty much every station in the Lower Mainland. Okay. So it's not just me sitting there. There's a bunch of people. We do traffic for The Beat, The Drive, CKWX, CKNW, Sea Isle, just all across the board. So there's a bunch of other reporters actually sitting at desks just like mine, and we're all reporting all at the same time.
Nice. That's how you get to all those stations. There's so many of you, right?
Yes, that's right.
How many other helicopter traffic reporters are there?
Well, there's me, and then there's Amber in the morning. She does the morning. I do the afternoons. And then we have 2 weekend reporters as well. Cam on Saturdays, Natalie on Sundays. And then we also have fill-in people as well. But I should also point out that the CKNW reporter also comes in the helicopter with me, although they are not on TV.
Oh, okay. So they're just there doing their
straight
own
CKNW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So what inspired you to become a traffic reporter, I'll say, because you transitioned into the helicopter, right? Or were
That's right. Yeah, I actually started out at CTN doing traffic for Team 1040 way back in the day, like 2008, I think. And then there was no more work to do, so I got let go. I ended up going over to AM730, and there I stayed for 8 years. And basically, what I thought is I was going to get into broadcasting and become a DJ. Yes. I wanted to work at Rock 101. I wanted to play classic rock and rock out all day. But it turns out I actually have a talent for traffic reporting, and I was actually hired before I even finished broadcast school to do it. So.
Oh, nice. So did you end up finishing, or did you ever
I
go
did.
back?
Oh, well, I did finish. I did do the final exam, but I didn't, I got hired, I think, about a month and a half before school was actually done. Yeah. So I was working and.
In broadcasting, that's probably huge to get hired before.
It really is.
School, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've grown up in the Lower Mainland. I'm from North Van originally, but I know the Lower Mainland like the back of my hand, so it's kind of like.
And you see it from above, so it's kind of easier in a way to just visualize everything from above, but it's hard at the same time. I see. Sometimes I'll look at your aerial photos on Instagram, and I'll recognize like a building, and then I'll be like, okay, now this makes sense, right? That street's there, this street's there. In downtown, I'm still lost, even though I'm there all the time. I kind of go to the same spots all the time. Yeah. That's what it is. But by the way, since we're talking about Instagram, everyone should follow her Instagram. She's posting daily aerial photos.
That's right.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
What is your Instagram?
At Trish Jewison.
Trish Jewison.
Yes. So basically, I didn't go to broadcast school to become a traffic reporter. That wasn't my goal, but it just worked out that way. And so for the longest time, I was actually working part-time at AM730, but also working a day job in an office. So my day would be basically 6 a.m. to midnight.
Every day, Monday to Friday?
Yeah. For about 3 years, I did it.
Yeah.
It was really exhausting, but I loved it, so I didn't care.
It didn't really feel like work at that point, right?
No, if you love what you do, it's not work.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I really lucked out because I used to work in an industry that I did not like. I was basically a secretary in a bunch of different industries, but all corporate, and I just didn't want to do it anymore.
So you've been there, you've been to the jobs that you love where they don't really feel like a job, then you've been there where you're like, oh fuck, I hate this, right?
That's right.
And you're just waiting for the clock to kind of
basically I would have to force myself to sit there every day. It was awful, and everybody's like, well, if you don't like your job, change it. And then back in like 2006 or 7, I guess. I was at my desk. This was back before we had like real internet, like all the time, like streaming and stuff. So I had an actual clock radio on my desk, and I would listen to CFOX radio station all day at work. And then one day I thought, I'm miserable, but these guys sound like they're having a lot of fun. So I just called up Columbia Academy and went in for an appointment, and it was done in an hour. I was signed up and ready to go.
That's a huge thing. Like, you can just literally call anyone and just like try getting an opportunity, right? Get it done. Like, I reached out to you and you were nice enough to come on this podcast.
Why not, right? Help everybody out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Question I want to ask you. Well, I didn't ask you before just because I want to save it for the podcast.
Yeah.
But how is it being in a helicopter? Just like, is it really rocky, or how is it? Because I got car sick in just a car. So I was thinking like,
it really depends on the weather. Like today, for instance, because it's so rainy and terrible, it was really bumpy and kind of unpleasant. Normally, it's pretty good. It just depends, really, how windy it is. If it's windy, it's bumpy. If it's not windy, it's great. Sometimes it goes up and down. It's a little bit bouncy. It's kind of like an amusement park ride in a way, sometimes.
Anyone ever get sick in the helicopter? Or are you all used to you?
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
3 times like a year, or 3 times total?
3 times since I started. So 3 times in 6.5 years I've been sick.
Well, that's not too bad.
But I sit in the back and no one even knows I'm getting sick.
You just kind of move the headset and do your thing. And then
We've got puke bags in the back and everything. Yeah.
How many hours have you spent in a helicopter, roughly, in your whole career?
5 days a week, 2 hours a day for almost 7 years. What's the math on that?
I'm not going to even try. That seems pretty simple, but
I have no idea.
That's
a lot.
That's quite a bit. And that's consistent. Like, you don't really miss days in the helicopter, right? Unless the weather's horrible.
If the weather's horrible, then we're grounded. We don't go.
Yeah.
And this time of year, we tend to get grounded quite a bit. It's probably the 5th time in a month that I've actually flown, because it's just brutal. We had all that rain then the snow. We can't fly in the snow. And then now this rain again. So
what do you do when you're grounded?
I just report from the ground. So I have it's kind of like a mini studio, but more like just like a workstation, and where I've got a mic just like this. I've got headphones, so I'm listening through a mixing board. And so I'll do AM730 from the ground. And then the global reports, I just call in over the phone, and they put up a graphic for me on TV. So when you see like Trish Jewison in the Global Traffic Center, that means I'm not flying.
You're in the center, the global center. Okay. I did not know that. Now I'm going to keep an eye.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep an eye for that.
And technically, just so you know, at 11:30 when I do the construction for Global or the News Hour final at 11, I'm not up there at 11 o'clock at night.
So you're on the ground then? I
pre-recorded. It's like TV magic.
So you pre-record it during the day, then you...
Yeah, and then they just put a graphic up for me.
Are you speaking live though, or...
Nope. Basically, I record an MP3 for them, and I send it to them, and then they play it, and they have a graphic over it. So, like, for instance, this weekend, the Patello Bridge is going to get shut down. And so, basically, that's what I said. It'll just show a shot of the Patello Bridge.
It's efficient. You have it already...
We're not flying at 11 at night, no.
So, we kind of got in your daily schedule. Can you break it down from the morning to the end?
Sure. Well, my shift is awesome. It's noon to 7, so I can sleep in, and and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And as someone who worked 2-3 jobs for over a decade, it's definitely very nice. So, basically, I go into work, set myself up. I've got tags that I read at the end of all my reports. I don't like mini commercials. Get them all ready. I sit down. I do my reports on the ground until about 4:30, and then we head up into the chopper, and then I do the rest of my reports in the chopper, and then we land at about 6:30, and then I just do a bit of wrap up at the end, and I'm done at 7.
You're never really in there late. So
no, there's no real reason to stay late. Yeah, once I'm done, I'm done, which is nice.
You got to stay in late.
I've had those. I used to work for lawyers, believe me.
Those guys are always in the office.
Yeah.
They never leave. We have lawyers on the 5th floor here, I think, 5th or 6th. And it's on the same level as the gym. So, like, every time I work out, sometimes it'll be 10 o'clock or, like, in the morning, 8 a.m., and they're always there.
Yeah.
It's like, it must suck. Another thing I was going to ask you here, it's kind of related to your daily schedule.
Okay.
How's your lunches work?
I don't get lunch.
You don't get lunch?
No, because I'm just sitting there, and I'm basically doing a traffic report every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So in between my reports, I'm really not doing anything.
You just eat then, right? Or do whatever you
Yeah,
gotta
I just eat at my desk, and hopefully they don't throw to me when my mouth is full. That's happened.
What do? Just spit it out and then you keep
It's
talking?
all right in the corner of my mouth, and then I just go for it. And then somebody will be like, "Oh, Trish."
But the average person probably wouldn't really notice. But
Probably
the people
not.
yeah.
Probably not. It just sounds a little muffled. I don't know.
What's the most unexpected thing you have seen in the air, just on a regular reporting trip, and you just see something that you were not expecting?
A human torso.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a couple summers ago when the
You just
gang
called it
wars
in?
were.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And there was a body.
In Vancouver?
Nope, it was in Langley.
Okay.
Just off Fraser Highway. And it was when the gangs were going back and forth. And this guy was meant to be a message. He was left out in the road where people could find him. No arms, no legs, no head.
Literally just the torso.
Yeah.
So you just called the police. You were probably the first person to really see it,
No.
Or was there
The
whole
police
scene?
were already on the scene.
Okay.
And then if there is something like that, like breaking news where something like that happens, Global will call me and ask me to go up. And in that case, I will go up early and report specifically for them. I've reported on everything.
Police chases?
Police chases. We don't get very many police chases here, but I've reported on lots of dead bodies, unfortunately, jumpers, that kind of thing. Like the aftermath, like burned out cars and huge accidents. There was that one about 2 summers ago, I guess, that police officer in Abbotsford got shot by that guy who just got sentenced now. I think he's getting life in prison for it.
Yeah, it takes a couple of years to get in court. And
so they had a huge parade for him, and it shut down like the highway and everything, and I followed it along. And so sometimes there's good things, like I get called to see when there's killer whales in the Burrard Inlet.
Yeah.
That's news.
Seeing that from above too, not too many people can see that from above.
It's so cool. So I get called for stuff like that, or bear sightings, something like that. But then I also get called for kind of the bad stuff too. So
what's your personal highlight, your personal favorite thing you've done in the helicopter?
Probably, I would say just recently that climate change protest that started at City
That was
Hall.
huge, right? How many people were out there in that?
I'd say at least 100,000.
Holy shit. And you just saw that from above?
Yeah, it was like watching history unfold. It was amazing. They all started at City Hall and then marched across the Cambie Street Bridge into downtown. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
How long were you up in the air for?
About an hour.
Nice. So you saw a big chunk of it then,
Yeah.
at least, from there. I noticed, I was looking online, and you were actually doing the Olympics as well?
Yeah. I got to fly over the half pipe on Cyprus. That was a long time ago. That was 2010.
During the Olympics.
Yeah.
Do you have footage from all these? Like, how do you just take photos? Or
Well, I just took photos, but I mean, back in 2010, I had an old flip phone, so the photos are not very good. But I get to fly over 420 every year at the beach.
You got to stay a safe distance from that smoke, right? Yeah. You don't want to get too close.
I get all the jokes from everybody. Are you really high right now?
Oh, that's a good one. So you're doing that every year, 420. That's like your routine?
Yeah, if it lands on a weekday. If it's on a weekend,
then you're going to go up there.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of like personal flying outside of work, or no, in helicopters?
No. Until I got this job, I'd never been in a helicopter before. I don't really think about it much. My pilots are good, so I feel I've never not felt safe.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool job. Like, I get to fly in a helicopter every day.
That's literally awesome. Like, I've never met anyone else that is in a helicopter as much as you.
I think I'm right up there in the hours anyway.
Would you ever fly your own helicopter and report? I know this is probably not a common thing, but like, Deanie Petty, she was like the first female helicopter broadcaster. Yeah. And she would fly and broadcast the traffic at the same time.
No.
I was like, wow, that's wicked. You don't have your license, right, to fly?
Oh, gosh. No. We have pilots that we have.
Their strict job is just to fly, right?
Yep, that's all they do. And I really couldn't do everything anyways because, first of all, I sit in the back. And second of all, I have a big laptop that I use to move the camera and stuff. So I couldn't.
Oh, you're controlling that too?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So I control the camera. I can't be flying as well.
Yeah.
There's
too much to do. I guess she was doing more local, like just using her eyes kind of.
Oh, I'm sure.
Broadcasting, right?
And
it was
back then. Back then they weren't on TV, but yeah. I don't know. No, that's a big misconception everybody has. Actually, this usually the first thing they ask me is, "How do you like flying a helicopter?"
Yeah.
Well, I actually don't fly it.
There's too many things going on.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
To just be flying and doing it. All humans make mistakes. Have you made a mistake on live TV?
Oh yeah.
What's the worst one you'd say that you made?
Well, I've forgotten where I was a couple times. It's like sometimes you just draw a blank. I'm right over the Alex Fraser Bridge, and I'm Trish Jewison in Global One over. Oh my gosh.
You just freeze.
Alex Fraser Bridge, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes I get it mixed up because if I do Global, I'm Trish Jewison in Global One. If I do AM730, I'm Trish Jewison in the AM730 Eye in the Sky.
Have you ever said opposite?
Oh, yes. Many times. I've made the Global blooper reel quite a few times.
They actually have a blooper reel?
Yes.
I always look at those like news anchors and traffic reporters, just bloopers.
Yes.
And that really made me think, hey, I wonder if Trish ever...
Yes. Yes, I have quite a few. Basically, though, you make a mistake, you move on. That's just the nature of it, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, like, you're live too. Like, it
Yeah.
is what it is. Put
Yeah.
anyone in your position, they're bound to make a mistake eventually, right?
Exactly. And I think, too, if I sort of basically just sound like I know what I'm talking about, then people will just, they won't even notice that I said the wrong route or whatever, right?
To me, you got that reputation where you're okay to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Trish Jewison reporting live. It's classic. Can you do one for 6:04 come up? Is that okay? Like you do like a reporting live at 6:04 come up, or
Yeah.
maybe at the end we'll get one recorded
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we'll throw it in the episode.
For sure.
So schooling, is there any schooling to become besides broadcast school? Is there more condensed courses now to become a traffic reporter specifically, or?
I don't think so. Like BCIT is a 2-year program and it's full time. So I couldn't do that. I had to still work.
Yeah.
So I went to Columbia Academy, which I don't think is actually around anymore. And that was just night school. So I would go to work 9 to 5 and then go to school 6 to 10.
Okay.
And like I said, I went into broadcast school thinking I would come out of it a DJ, but that didn't happen. So I would guess that probably you just have to do your time in broadcasting and you get what you get. It's very specialized and this is a very small market. And if you want to stay in Vancouver, you got to basically take what they offer you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, props to you for getting a job, like, even
Yeah.
before you graduated. That's how you know. You just got that natural sauce, as they say. What advice would you give to someone that's trying to get into your position? Is there anything they can do, like any jobs that will help them out?
I mean, if you want to get started, your best bet is probably to get in on a street team at a local radio station, and they can sort of show you the ropes, and you might meet somebody within the company that would take you under their wing and help you out a little bit. But basically, you need to go to broadcast school, or
It's a must.
they won't even look at you. Yeah.
Wow, it's that competitive. What if they got the voice of like a goddess?
I don't know. Well, it depends. I do know a few people who didn't go to broadcast school who ended up in broadcasting, but it was because they knew someone who knew someone who knew someone kind
Pulled
of thing.
some strings, right?
Yeah, and they basically were given a chance, and it turned out that they were actually pretty good at it, so they just kept going.
Do you DJ on the side, or like is that anything is that something you picked up over time, or because you really wanted to do it?
Do rarely. I have a friend who has her own DJ business, so when she's overbooked, I will help her out.
Oh,
but
nice.
Yeah, not really.
Nice. If I ever need a DJ for like a house party or something,
Yeah.
I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Rock music only, or what is it?
Oh, I'll do anything.
You'll do anything?
No country.
No country? Okay. So anything but country.
Yes.
Fair enough. 7 years in the industry, you must have seen a lot of changes in the industry. What are some big technology changes that you've seen in the industry that have helped?
I would say, well, we went from standard definition to high definition. So that really helps out with, for me to be able to show everybody what I'm looking at and to show it as true as possible. So I think it's more crisper and clearer, and that makes my job easier. Like from the helicopter, I can read street signs with my camera.
Wow,
yeah, so it's pretty cool. So when I'm looking for something specific that maybe there's no emergency crews, no flashing lights, not something that would be immediately obvious, I'm still able to, zoom in and look at stuff, and it's like crystal clear. It's like it's right in front of you.
You must have
crazy.
a feature that the TV won't be seeing what you're trying to zoom into, and then you can switch to that camera and make that go live, or?
Basically, as soon as I power up, I'm live. So we communicate through a microwave that's mounted on the bottom of the chopper. And so I communicate with Global Feeds and Control Room through that.
Okay.
And so it's always live, so I have to be careful what I say, just in case I'm potted up. So no swearing. But they'll basically, I get a countdown. So if, say, I'm at the Alex Fraser Bridge reporting on that, they'll say, Trish, 3 minutes, and then it just goes on from there. So they don't actually start like showing it on TV until
they give you that countdown,
everything's ready. Yeah.
What are some changes you want to see in the industry, or is it good how you like it how it is, or is there anything you can recommend?
I like it how it is, really. I mean, I wish it paid better, but you don't get into broadcasting to make money. I knew that from the beginning. And like I said, if you love what you do, it's not really work. And I'm lucky enough in my situation that not making a whole lot of money I can still live. But when I first started out, 2-3 jobs.
What's the starting pay, would you say, roughly, for broadcasting traffic reporting?
$18 an hour,
okay.
Maybe. Yeah. But it's not full time. It's like I work 6.5 hours, 7 hours.
Yeah.
But a lot of people work 3 hours, 4 hours.
You got to grind your ass off to get it to a full-time kind of position where you're multiple radio stations.
They're rare. Full-time radio broadcasting, that's rare. Yeah.
Do you see yourself switching, not industries, but switching the type of job you're doing from traffic reporting to something completely new, but that's still in the broadcasting?
I don't know. I mean,
industry?
if CFOX called me up and said, hey, you want to be a DJ? I'd probably say yes. But
is that a hint to CFOX right there?
Yeah, they're not gonna. But anyway, I truly love my job. It is so awesome. I have nothing negative to say about it, and so probably they're just gonna have to drag out my cold dead body when I'm finally done.
They're gonna have to drag you out of there. You're gonna be like, no, I want to stay, right?
That's right.
I'm just trying to think now, like, how can will they allow you to have like GoPros on the helicopter and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, they'll fully let you. For 420, you got to do something. You got to get some good footage.
Oh yeah,
post
well,
that on YouTube.
I've taken pictures of it, but I mean,
it's all about content.
Yeah.
It's all about content.
My pilot usually has a GoPro. He had one on his helmet, and that's pretty cool. You get and then you, I guess, pare it down to like a minute after a 2.5 hour flight, and it's just like a time lapse kind of thing, and just flying over Vancouver and North Shore and Burnaby and stuff, and it's so fast. I wish we actually went that fast, but we don't.
And it's actually good quality, right?
It is, yeah. It's really cool. Yeah.
You probably think helicopters are slow, but they're actually getting to places quick, right? Because you're used to being in it all the time. You're like faster.
Yeah. Our chopper it's little and it's not super fast, but it does the job, right?
Give us one cool fact about yourself.
One
random
cool fact?
Yeah, I'm just going to blast questions at you now. You can blast questions at me as well. We're just freestyling.
Cool fact. I don't know. You put me on the spot now. I don't know.
That was my plan all along.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is not really about me, but my dad used to work for the Canucks. He worked for them for 30 years. So they named a media room after him. And back in the day, I was friends with all of them, like Kirk McLean, Trevor Linden, Doug Lidster. Yeah.
Do you go to Canucks games often or no?
Not anymore. My dad retired in 2008, so the gravy train kind of ended. So no more free tickets. So I don't.
The free tickets are the best, right?
Yeah. And after 2011, quite honestly, they just broke my heart. I'm kind of done.
I feel like they're slowly rebuilding, though. They're getting
slowly.
Kevin Bieksa and Ryan Kessler also started a podcast.
I know.
Yeah, it's a Kess and Juice podcast or something.
Yep.
They're going to do well, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a commercial right now for a podcast for Russ Courtnall.
Who's that? I have no idea who that is.
Oh, he used to play for the Canucks too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
No, wow, that's awesome. So he has a podcast too?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, when they retire, are just starting to do podcasting.
Why not, right? You got free time.
And they have so much knowledge too. Like, they know things that not the average public knows, right?
Yeah.
And they just blast it out on their podcast. Would you ever go on the Kess and Juice podcast?
Sure.
Why not, right?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, you've done a couple podcasts. You said two or three, or you used to have your own podcast.
Yeah. Morrison Danger podcast. That was for 2 years, about 3 years ago. Like I said, it's Neil Morrison and Danger from CFOX.
Are they still doing that podcast?
No. Danger actually works with me. He flies in the News 1130 plane. He does traffic for them.
Nice.
And Neil works at a radio station in Surrey. So.
Oh, so you're all in the same kind of industry.
Oh, yeah. Okay, nice. I mean, especially once you find your way in here, you want to stay for as long as you can and do whatever you can. I certainly don't want to go back to working in an office, answering phones and getting coffee. No, thank you.
That's it. That's the old year, right? I guess it made you more like you appreciate this more now and you love it even more because you've seen that side of things, right?
Absolutely. It's night and day the difference about. Like, I just can't stress it enough. If you love your job, then it's not work and it's awesome. And you're willing to do whatever you can to do it. Whereas, my old jobs working in offices, I could care less, honestly.
So tomorrow it's a weekend, you're off?
Yes.
Do you ever get called in on the weekend? Like, hey, Trish, some interesting stuff's about to go down. Do you want to come in and fly?
We do have reporters for the weekend, so they would get the call.
Not you.
Every once in a while, I have filled in on the weekends a few times, but we do have like regular staff now, so it's Monday to Friday for me again.
Nice, that's good. You got the flexibility of getting the weekends to yourself.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
You must deal with a lot of traffic commuting from Surrey to your work each day.
Well, to Boundary Bay is not so bad. It's just basically Surrey to Delta, Highway 10. It's pretty easy. What used to be brutal is I used to do the same thing, but I used to work downtown. So I would drive from Cloverdale to downtown every day. On a good day, it's about an hour and a half.
On a bad day?
On a bad day, it could be anything. Now my commute's about 25 minutes. It's a lot easier to take, and it's not in the morning or afternoon. And honestly, now that I just fly above all the chaos now, I am so glad I'm not stuck in it anymore.
Do you think we have bad drivers or just bad street layouts? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Bad drivers.
Bad drivers? I agree with you. I feel like we got bad drivers.
We have terrible drivers here. I went to Thailand last year. Went to Bangkok, and it took me all of 10 minutes to realize that we don't have a traffic problem here. We have a bad driver problem here because Bangkok is nuts, but it's like a controlled chaos. Yeah. Nobody's blaring their horns. There's no road rage, at least none that I saw. But here, it's just crazy. Like people...
No patience, right?
No patience. I think that's the biggest thing is they have no patience. You get stuck wherever you go, and people just get pissed off after a while, and they just want to go.
Yeah, yesterday I was driving and I witnessed an accident right in front of me. Some guy had no patience to wait in his lane, so he just tries merging real quick and nails the guy right next to him. Yeah. People ask me why the ICBC rates go up so much. That's a perfect example of why the ICBC rates go up so much.
Yes.
It's all these little accidents that are just adding up to unnecessary amounts of money.
Oh,
that ICBC has paid out. But don't get me wrong, ICBC has... They've done good things, but they've had an outdated system in the past.
Yes.
But they're doing well now by changing that up, and now they're doing a new system.
Yeah.
You must have heard of it. Have you renewed your car insurance yet?
Yes, I did in July.
Nice. So you actually got the old system still.
Oh, did I?
Now when you go to renew, you'll have the new system. So they're going to ask you a whole new set of questions.
Oh.
And everything. And
see, a lady just comes to my house and sign here, sign here, sign here. And
gives you a bag and she's out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a road
agent. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up here, I think we should get that 604 come up. I want to hear that line. I want to hear what you can do for us. Give us the global news one first if you can. And then so people can compare then the 604.
What, you want like an actual traffic report?
Give me like a 604 live traffic report or whatever. Just a line that we can throw into the podcast to start it off.
I'm Trish Jewison live at 604. Come up.
Yes, that's awesome. I don't know if you're gonna do that or not, to be honest.
I don't mind. Sure.
How can people reach you though? Besides Instagram, do you have a website or anything, or just Instagram?
I don't have a website, but I'm on Twitter at Trish Jewison, and then my Instagram is at Trishy Jewison.
Trishy Jewison. I recommend the Instagram for sure. The pictures are beautiful. I've seen them on other Instagram profiles.
People rebrand them a lot.
Yeah, like huge pages will just be reposting them.
That's how I get all my followers. All the big pages repost them, and then all of a sudden I've got 20 new people.
And just like from one photo, that's it. Yeah,
some of them are awesome. Some of them are just like so amazing, and then it just depends.
It's a mix, but I feel like definitely for the 420. We got to set something up for that footage.
Yeah. If
you can get GoPros on there.
Yeah.
I'll be down to even like supply the GoPros.
Okay.
And just you do the rest.
Yes.
You hook them up, get the footage.
Yes.
I'll mix it up for you and then we're good to go from there.
Although, will we have it now that it's legal?
Yeah.
Will we have 420 still? Is it?
I think so. I think we'll still do it.
Is it a protest? Or I guess maybe it's just going to be a festival now.
It's going to be more like a festival. I think it's going to be maybe even bigger than before, I feel like.
Who knows?
Because more people will be open to it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You walk into a dispensary nowadays and there's like all ages, genders, races in there.
It's crazy.
It's
crazy, people you see. I know.
It catches you off guard, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap here at 604 Come Up. Thank you for coming in today after work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.